let's kick it off. So hi, everyone.
Okay, great.
Thanks for joining.
Hi, everybody. This is such a great group. Thank you so much for joining. Hands up if you have actually had a LinkedIn tough love analysis with me. Just curious.
We got one hand.
Okay, great. So look, I'm gonna kind of go through all of the stuff. So some of it may be slightly repetitive, but it's one of those things that I find is definitely like any kind of practice where sometimes you do need to hear it again because it's really a mindset shift. That being said, whenever I work with people on their LinkedIn, it is 99% of the time a marketer. So I kind of came up with the best way that I had to communicate that to marketers, which was to say, think of it like a landing page. It is a practically perfect metaphor. Oh, there we go. Okay. Canva.
Surprise animations for everyone.
Yeah. Hey, didn't program that. Okay, you're gonna ignore the last one. I didn't edit out. So now that is the best metaphor that I could think of, because I think if you can really internalize that, then you basically have, I would say, 90% of what you need to start really looking at your own LinkedIn. Meaning I could do it with you. I do it with people, but you could really do this for yourself. So the idea is you want to take a step back and you're saying to yourself, well, what's a website and what's a landing page? So the number one difference that I've found in some of my research when I was trying to make sure this is a good example and a good metaphor is the idea that a landing page keeps everything very, very focused. The paradigm shift, I think, comes from seeing your LinkedIn as your resume versus your landing page. So while you could potentially say, oh, it's like a website, or maybe even like the first page of your website, I like to make it extreme because I want to make the difference extreme. So it's so extreme in that your resume really is your website. It's where you want people to kind of feel around, hear the story of your career, hear the story of you, your interests, who you are, all kinds of things. And there is a way, obviously, you're all marketers, to design an experience of your resume, but we're going to leave that for another session. What I wanted to kind of really bring out in this session is that it's singular. When somebody goes to your LinkedIn, now the metaphor works, how do people find your landing page? You're programming them to find that. But here are the ways that people end up on your landing page. They either find you because they're searching. They find you in a comment. They like something you wrote. They see your post for some reason because other people like it. They're doing research on something. A person dropped your name in a conversation. They went to look you up. Potentially a competitor is looking to see who wrote that great white paper. And they're kind of checking you out. So these are all the ways people are coming to you. Now, normally with a landing page, you have one action, one thing, and you're really trying hard to get this one type of person to be there who has this particular need that you're going to actually try to resolve through that one action. Now, that's where it can get hard, but it also is worth the thinking about it the more you need it. A lot of people don't need an insanely differentiated LinkedIn. But if you are looking for a job, or you're looking to be an influencer as part of your current job, or looking to use your personal LinkedIn in a particular way, you can then start to get like really specific about it. So an example of that would be, let's say you're a product marketer. You're thinking singularly, what do I want someone who's, and I'm looking for a job. So I'll give an example of looking for a job, and I'll give an example of you want to use your LinkedIn. So you're looking for a job and somebody is on your LinkedIn. They've gotten there. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is think about, how are you differentiating? And you want to have that somehow there. Now we're going to go into that and we're going to look at a brave person's real LinkedIn in just a minute. But these are kind of my arguments for the metaphor. Now, I will say it's not a perfect metaphor. There are many reasons, even if you're looking for a job, or even if you're an influencer, that people will end up there and maybe want to see a lot of things. And you can be more diverse But like I said, the more specific your purpose is, the more specific you'll want to be about this. Now, if you're using your LinkedIn as part of your job, it's even more important to do this because you can change your whole persona. You're doing a huge favor for your company, but you can change your whole persona to speak to one action or one particular way that you want customers or lots of other creative concepts of who might encounter you within your work experience. So you really need to kind of be aware of that. Now, the last one you can ignore. Apologize, first time using Canva.
Yeah, we're not recording a video inside the editor.
No.
Everybody.
You can record a video. What does it say? You can also record a video inside the editor. Yeah.
We don't know. That's not part of this.
So I'm still also not exactly sure how to turn the page. Oh, got it. So I'm just kind of wanted to give everybody an example of how does someone find me? So this is the main way, let's say a recruiter would find you. There's obviously other ways and other reasons people would search, but this is generally where I find you, let's say, or an internal recruiter is finding you, or somebody looking desperately for that perfect product marketer to hire for themselves. So you'll see this. Now, the reason I want to show this is because the whole content of this seminar is thinking about above the fold, below the fold. And then when you take the landing page metaphor, we're kind of almost looking at each section of the above the fold as almost a sub landing page for you.
Mimi, quick question.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
is this above the fold is what you would say? Or what is above the fold?
This is like the primary above the fold. So this is
Mhm.
the first place that if someone's searching for you, this is how they will see you first almost every time. So one of the reasons that I think this can be really helpful, and by the way, I had a little challenge in doing this because I wanted to use my own LinkedIn, but you can't because you see a totally different thing when you're looking at your LinkedIn. The psychological metaphor here is that it's very hard to see yourself from inside yourself. So it can be really helpful to, get an outside view, especially when my primary, kind of tough love thing to marketers is like, you are your best product. So, think about how you would treat your favorite product and the product that is, entrusted to you to show to the world. And you are also that. And that can sound superficial, but I happen to think that marketing is psychologically a very deep profession. It's really important. And you do it right and you do it with integrity. It's an incredibly important part of our world.
Right. So why don't we apply it to ourselves?
Why don't we apply it to ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same reason why we have a hard time, with blind spots in ourselves, with relationships or all work, all kinds of things. So what the challenge I found was I wanted to use my own website just to show you all my thinking about why I did my website the way I did, but it shows totally differently when it's your account. So I could
get a friend or
I know
ask me to look at what you look like here because you can't see it yourself is what you're
By
saying,
the way, right? When I give these exactly, that's a great point. When I give my analyses or assessments, or I'm actually helping you build your LinkedIn, you're getting that outside view. I would propose that you could get very valuable information just by sitting with a friend or sitting with somebody who works with you and saying, what do you see when you first look at this? So that's a great point. I mean, I do that in consulting, but there's no reason you can't ask somebody else to help you along that path the way you would do with other things in life. Like, was I a jerk there? I don't know. I didn't think I was a jerk, but everyone got mad at me. You can get an outsider's view. So I used Anna's actually. Thank you for volunteering. And like I said, a lot of people did volunteer. So at the end of the session, and it isn't a very long session. So if we'll kind of test the waters, feel out the room. If people would like to stick around and we can pull individual people up, I'm happy to do that.
So if you guys, Mimi's going to go through Anna's LinkedIn live as an example. And then if anyone here wants to have their LinkedIn done live, just wait until after that. And then we'll all do it together. Oh, we're getting hearts for that.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, we'll think of a great, obviously the people who bravely volunteered would go first, but let's just see what we have. I can think of one. I'll try to think as I'm speaking of one particular piece that we could kind of and analyze for each person, possibly just maybe one of the pieces of the landing page concept. So here we have your first landing page. Now, when I say that, I mean this is your first landing page. Now, just looking at what we see, you can see your current role, you can see where you are, and then you can also see location and this. So this is your tagline. This is everybody's main, and I also, the metaphor is like real estate on, let's say, one of these landing pages. This is your like most expensive real estate. This is the most important piece because that's where you get to say what you want to say. And the interesting thing about this, if you look at the contrast, let's see if any of these have kind of a good one. Yeah, so let's just say, I mean, not good or bad, but I'm saying this is an exact, Ben's is an exact kind of definition of his current role. So he's not utilizing that, which is a great thing to see that. Now, let's say Michelle is utilizing that.
What do you mean not utilizing or utilizing that?
So Ben, so this line here, your tagline, let's see. Oh, I can't go down and down, but you can see all the different people's taglines. You can see some people have their title. Some people have words that are descriptors, or sometimes it's not even a descriptor of them. It's things that they like or things that they like to be known as or known by. Now, one of the interesting pieces here, so you can say VP at Gravwell, great. He wrote cybersecurity just in case anyone didn't know that Gravwell was a cybersecurity company, which is great because he's utilizing that a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Because you're
scrolling through, right? So like like you said, an internal recruiter or me, or a recruiter would be scrolling through and say, I'm looking for security and marketing. Well, VP of marketing at Gravwell, and then cybersecurity. Great. Checks a box.
By the way, I wonder if Tim comes up so fast because he literally has cybersecurity in there. And if you look, that probably is why.
I think there's some gaming of the algorithm here.
Oh, definitely a lot of that.
Sure. Mimi, do you think there is an advantage to putting your title or an advantage to putting those words as Michelle and Patrick have?
I definitely generally will recommend almost all the time. Everyone's different because, as I said, it really depends on what you're trying to get out of it, what you want to show. So what I would venture to say is that someone who's not looking for a job, and this is just the kind of investigator here, someone who isn't looking for a job, I would imagine would maybe be okay with having their title there. Because number one, they're then maybe not using their LinkedIn as a way to reach out within the work environment. And then they're also just want people to know, like, okay, I work here. This is what I do. That's great. Now, if you're trying to send a message, just putting your title doesn't really do anything unless you have a reason for that. Now, it's interesting because Tim, I didn't ask Tim. These are just people who showed up.
This is just public LinkedIn. So it's
this is just public. This is like,
we're not going to tag them or anything on there.
Right, exactly. This is what shows up for me first. So anyway, so I don't want to harp too much on this, but I want you to see that there is a difference in the way that people utilize their tagline. And I also wanted you to see that is one of the first things people see. And it is, in terms of everybody's interest of time, it is definitely a deciding factor if somebody's going to click. So that's the next stage is, okay, should you use a hashtag in the tagline? I don't think so. It's not that type of thing. It's much more of a branded thing. So it's much more of a, let's see. Do they do that in Twitter? I'm not a Twitter person.
I think
do they do hashtags in your tagline?
Does anyone else know? I think it's X now too. X/Twitter. I know.
Excuse me, X for. Okay. So yeah. So if you can do that and it's helpful,
that you can put hashtags in your bios. On LinkedIn or on Twitter, Michelle? Yeah, you can actually on Twitter, you can put hashtags on your bios.
Okay.
And I think it's fair to say don't put them in on the headline for LinkedIn. One thing I think is they probably take up too much they add like characters and you only have so many characters. And so they take up real estate and they're not like easy to see either. It's not like a thing you can read really well. Like I don't mind the this is my opinion. I'm not the recruiter here. So listen to Mimi first and foremost, but I like those up and down line, the up and down long line, because I think it looks classy and it looks organized. And it's the standard, but I think hashtags would be distracting.
So not only that, it's actually, as you were talking about it, Gianna, I had the exact reason why you don't use hashtags. And it is the philosophy of everything I'm trying to share, which is that if you use hashtags, you're speaking to AI. If you use words and phrases, you're speaking to the person reading it. And that is really the difference. And we're always thinking that way because there is a human all the time here. There is some level of hashtagging. So, for example, the people who put cybersecurity in their tagline showed up first, but you could put cybersecurity in your about section. We'll talk about the about section in a minute. It's below the fold. And you'll still show up. It looks to me like the current AI factor here is that you might show up first based on the most important thing that you want to show up for. And so that's a good thinking, but it's more like you always want to think first, but then how is the person reading it?
It's like if you put a hashtag, it does seem like you're talking to the algorithm as opposed to people. Claire also has a great point. Maybe this is just my perception, but hashtags also seem outdated. Just like people who add too many hashtags in a post look like they don't know what they're doing based on today's standards. That's true because actually LinkedIn, you see people who put a million hashtags in LinkedIn posts. That actually is not, that's anti the algorithm now. According to LinkedIn.
Yes,
so they want you to not just spam yourself with hashtags. So, all right. So you have Anna's profile up.
Ooh, so we have Anna. Anna, thank you so much. I think you're still here. Yes. Thank you for coming and for offering this. So we're not going to analyze Anna right now. We can go back and do that. What I figured I would use Anna since she volunteered is we're not going to go deep. I'm showing the landscape right now. So what I wanted to just show is that, Anna is utilizing those. So there's that, but I'm also just showing you what you see and what you're doing with the landscape, with the real estate. So now we have above the fold is what they're seeing when they've decided to click. Okay. So they've made a big decision and now they've clicked. And now you have the most important piece, which is right here, your banner. Now, people choose to use that for their work. The way I like to frame it, it's generous to do that. And it's great for morale. So it shows that people like their company because it's a nice thing to do for each person to say, oh, you can have this real estate. I'm really proud to work here. Now, I'm saying that because I'm thinking like, okay, I bet there's a lot of companies that force people to put it up, but it's not okay to force people to put it up. It is your LinkedIn. And I want to just kind of make that statement that you putting that as well as anywhere else, you put info about the company you work for. That is a generous contribution that you are making to the advertising of your company.
I want to add on to that quickly because even though I have been the head of marketing at some companies and had teams, it was never, that's my perspective as well, is that if you are putting that in your header, we can ask, we can say, will you please put it up there, send it to the whole company. And also, wow, way to go, SEMGrab. So like, I think it says something good about you as an employee that you're like a positive attitude, like you're a team player, right? So if I was looking for people to hire on LinkedIn and I saw that, I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, they're like so invested in their company that they wouldn't join my company. And also, if someone did not have something about their company in their header photo banner, I would also not think bad about them because it's true, Mimi, when you put stuff up about your company, that's just an added bonus because they're utilizing your personal brand to further the company.
It's just nice. So there's many different pieces here. So one of the things I will say is that it does send a message though. So let's say you are obsessed with I don't want to say like sailing, because sailing is a great thing to put up there, if you love sailing. I'm trying to think of something that garbage.
Yeah, just like dumpsters.
Yeah, dumpsters. That would be yucky. Trying to think of something that you would put up there that would kind of be distracting, or maybe send a message that I don't know, that you're, oh gosh. I'm trying to mess with the questions, which I should not do. Hold on.
We do have a question. Yeah. So if something up there was negative or distracting, okay. We have two questions actually. So
sure.
Someone asked, how valuable is it really to have education highlighted when one is more than 10 to 15 years into their career? So I'll let you answer that one first, Mimi.
That is a really good point. I think that education is becoming less and less of a thing that people see, but you're asking about that you see that here. I think, and I apologize for not knowing the definite answer to this, but I think you can allow that to not be up there, but it is automatic. So almost everybody has it. I do not know if you can take it off. So while I would say it's not beneficial for me, like where I went to college is not impressive and it's not interesting to anyone. So I'm going to personally look into that. But I think in these days, people do not look at where you went to university 10 years later as much. Maybe if they did, like if they value where they went to university, possibly. So it's a very, very vague topic. I would say if you're proud of it, highlight it. If you're not, like me, like I really don't care, it just doesn't matter. You have so many other ways to show yourself. So now we're looking at, I just want to go back to.
There's one more question though, Mimi, if we can, because this is about the banner. So, and sorry if you guys hear background noise. What's the message when the user doesn't have any image there, right? That banner, because that's something you have to add. It's not automatic. I take it as, so this person, his point of view says, I take it as they aren't active and don't give too much time to their profile. What do you think, Mimi?
It could be. I think that also is a judgment call that doesn't necessarily mean anything about the person, because it just depends on what they need you for. I mean, if they're trying to hire I'm trying to think of something that it wouldn't matter.
Product marketer.
No, product marketer, you want to really have a nice LinkedIn because that shows that you know how to.
Oh, that's true, because you're the product.
I'm trying to think if there's a marketing role that it doesn't matter as much, that you're active. Not that you don't have a defined good. Yeah, a product marketer doesn't need to be active on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe somebody who's more in demand gen, you'd want someone who knows the kind of the rhythms and things of LinkedIn. But I would say seeing that somebody's not that active isn't a bad thing.
Right. And it's
I would say about the banner.
Yeah.
Okay. So about the banner, this is where I want to leave that, which is it just needs to look good. So for example, I've just seen people have a pretty color that looks good with the picture they chose. That's fine. It's really, it's a piece of real estate that you can use if it helps you. And if you can't think of anything great, it's fine too. But the most important thing is that it does look nice, the way that a photo on a landing page would look nice. You can definitely utilize it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying not to, but it's not a terrible thing if you don't. It's just an option.
That's a good point. It doesn't have to be that gray box. You could just put a color that blue or something up there. Yeah. Claire says that I'm a writer and I receive a lot of leads through LinkedIn and I don't have a banner. Cool. Good for you, Claire. And now add a color and then come back and tell us if it went up. Okay.
Okay. I'm putting that down. Market research, validating my concepts. Okay. So that's the tagline. Obviously the picture, get a great picture of you where you look friendly, you look welcoming, and it's as clear as you can. Now that's obvious. That's like the top of where people are coming to. Then you're going back, looking at this. This is an interesting one. Talks about team culture hashtags. That is automatic if you choose to have a content creator version of LinkedIn. It's just a click. You can do that if you want. There are benefits and drawbacks. So the drawback is it is harder to connect with you. It'll generally, if someone's not connected, it'll push them to follow you rather than connect. which is okay. But it's neither here nor there. It gives you a little bit of an extra kind of phrasing here. There's a few other, if you really are into posting, there's some benefits, but I'm just letting you know that that's something that you see there. People see your followers. Now, what does that mean? Followers does help. It helps when people see that you have followers, they see that you are a real person. I would say if you have less than 500, get yourself up to at least over 500, because generally speaking, if you're not connected to somebody, they'll just see like 500 plus connections first. And if you have less than 500, they'll say exactly how many you have. It's like a shaming ritual. If you have less than 500, they'll say exactly how many. And if you say, if you have over 500, you don't even worry about it. Yeah, I just want to say they only highlight that when you are in a content creator status.
Yeah, and just to clarify, that content creator status is an actual thing that you have to turn on in your LinkedIn, right? It's like in the settings, maybe, I think.
Yes.
Where you can like choose to be like a person on LinkedIn, or you could choose to be like a creator. And then
if anybody has questions about that particular piece and how to do things that I'm mentioning, just definitely either put it in the Q&A and we'll get to it at the end for sure, or I can, talk to you later. So that's what you see. So this is above the fold, the first above the fold. Mutual connections are also great. A lot of people click on those. Even though a lot of people have lots of followers that they don't know, they still want to know, who do we know mutually? I've had a few people, because I have so many connections, I've had a few people say, I only connected with you because you were connected to this person. So that's the primary benefit of making sure that you do have connections, because it does help. Even if it's unmeaningful, like your relationship with that person is not deep or whatever that is, it still is helpful. Okay. This is the second above the fold. So this is the next thing that people see. They'll see your activity. This is one of those hygiene pieces. Just to think about, now we'll talk about actual activity and what are some interesting activities that are good for you to do based on what you're looking to do. But this is just keep aware. This is like a self-awareness piece. What do people see? They say 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago, 4 months ago. They'll quickly look at what you're posting. So a quick grasp of that will give some kind of picture. I don't want to get too deep into Anna's right now, but she's not posting every day, that's fine. She is generally just kind of like reposting, posting. Like, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but there's different things you can imagine that people would see here. They'd see you commenting. If there's a ton of congratulations, just know that will be seen. I want to leave the judgment on this piece to you, because you are marketers and each of you know what your function is when you're making these changes on your LinkedIn. But yeah, that's like a cautionary, just the next thing that people see. It's like right there. This is the featured. It's great to utilize this. Happen to like that Anna, pinned that she's just there. And I don't remember how long that's been, but we'll find out on the next screen. But here you can post things that you've written. If you are posting regular old articles from your company, again, same concept of the banner. That's very nice of you. Just, I guess I say it in that way to make sure that you are getting the credit for doing that, or that it's known that you're doing that, because it's not just putting it up there. Like, if you take it down, it's a big commitment. So I would really consider, when you put your company on here to promote them, just take a lot of thought around how that's helping you in your career. And I don't say that in a way to be selfish. It's just that this is your personal landing page. So you want to make sure that, you're utilizing everything that you can, and that if you're giving something away, that you know why, and it's still beneficial to you. So here's the next piece. There's a double above the fold here. So number one, you really only have this much to talk about yourself, and no one's clicking on that. So that's important to know. This is a place to almost You can use it or think of it as an extension of your tagline. So stay on theme with your tagline, maybe expand on a few things from your tagline. Here is where you will say the most important part of what you bring to the table. And as I said, below this fold, I didn't show this, but this is where I always tell people to speak to AI. So the see more here, when you click that, I tell people to hide all their AI like prayers and wishes, hide that there because you don't want it clouding up any other part of your LinkedIn because AI only needs to hear it once.
Mimi, what do you mean by put all your AI, talk to AI stuff in there?
Exactly this. So here we are a little bit kind of going into Anna's, but the skills that LinkedIn offers you to put for every single job is a total waste of your real estate. So what I've told people to do, take all of those, cut and paste it, add it in your about section all the way at the bottom. It will still pull you up. Now, as we saw, if you have a one thing that you really need to be known as, put it in your tagline, put it at the top. But if it's a whole bunch of like search advertising, email marketing. Now, I will say there's a few things like ABM. There's been times where I was specifically looking for somebody who had ABM experience. So even though it may end up, or integrated marketing, even they wanted somebody who like had that way of speaking about their craft. If you have something really strong in your skill set, make sure it's up there. Make sure it's a part of your tagline. Make sure it's a part of your general marketing scheme. But the skills that they offer you, and then they throw it in there, what it does is it actually takes up real estate here and here, and then it requires more scrolling for your viewer.
Quick question from Becca. Do those keywords, like the ones that are tagged, don't help the search algorithm find you?
Now, they do. Now, I am not on the back end of LinkedIn, but logic tells me that if you put those exact words with spacers into your about section, that it will find you just as well. Now, I've had people who are worried about that. And I would say, if you are worried, like there are things that you really need to be found at, this is a trick. I would put it only in your last job. Put all of them in your last job. They do you a disservice by offering to put it for every single job. It isn't beneficial. Like I said, if it's something that you need to be known as, make sure it's prominent. If it's something that is a reference point, like I need to just know that she has experience with email marketing or with search advertising, that will show up and they will also look for that. That is my recommendation. Now, LinkedIn changes that all the time. So I'm saying that with a caveat. They do change their AI constantly. So I never give kind of the backside advice without a warning that you need to make sure that you're doing what works for you. I've just found that a lot of people end up with and if you feel you really need it, be very sparse. Right. They make you feel anxious, like you need to click every single one because you don't want to not be known about at this. And I can't believe that that's how their algorithm is functioning, that you're being forced to do that. It doesn't even seem specific enough for it to be really good AI tool.
Right. So, and I'll add to that too, right? So if I look at, since Anna's profile is up and we have free range to comment, global marketing director. Anna. Yes, thank you. Global marketing director and head of marketing. And then there's all these skills that are like completely that on-page optimization, search advertising, email marketing, integrated marketing, I think could fit in there. Cybersecurity, customer marketing, cross-functional teams. I would expect the global marketing director to know all this already. It's also like, are you an expert in all of these things? I know a marketing director, head of marketing has to be a generalist and usually has enough knowledge to be dangerous in many subjects, but typically, it's not like that. And I would also think then you start showing up for like the PPC roles if you have all this. Oh, it triggers all kinds of weird stuff. So I will promise you all this. Okay. And we'll get back to you. Anyone who's willing to be an example, to do an experiment with me, I'm going to see if it's possible for us to do this. But anyone who's willing, just shoot me an email. Is that a good way? Or just maybe, do we save the chat? We can do an experiment where during a 15-minute period, I can get 10 people and we can put them in different places and see if it changes the current algorithm. That could be really interesting. So I'm willing to do that. Like I said, because I never want to give advice that's then going to not get you opportunities. Like Gianna said, it makes
it takes away from the gravity of certain titles to see all these pieces. All of what I'm always trying to do is take marketers, get them to think of themselves with their marketing talent and art, and throwing human insecurity in there is just makes it so general, amorphous, takes you away from your point. So I definitely think LinkedIn is being that well-intentioned anti. I always call it that when it does these things that actually end up harming how people interact with you, but they're doing it with good intentions. And I think there's some good intentions here, but I cannot see how that's not taking away from somebody really being able to know exactly what they can take away from your role at Envision, from your role at SEMGREP. It goes against true marketing concepts.
We have another question. This is a good one. Actually, this is one I have because I've never know the answer to this, and I see people do it different ways. Claire asked, thoughts on first or third person in the about section? Does it even matter?
Wow. It definitely makes sense to do first person because it's friendly. If that's not your style, what is LinkedIn creates one for you that's Anna is a
if it's not your style, write it with first person and then put Anna is.
Here's how I'll tier it down because everybody is different and everyone has a different comfort level. So first I would say first person. Second, I would say no person. Just kind of an expansion, 7 years of experience in growth marketing. I'm not vouching for this, but I'm improv, passionate about innovation. Does that make sense? So I think even with mine, I think I say making great connections all day long. So I don't say I make great connections all day long. So first person, if you do it right, no person, if you're unsure. And then I don't know the benefit of doing it in third person, but LinkedIn offers it. So thank you, Auntie. I think there is a purpose. I don't know.
I think some people choose to write Gianna Whitver is the whatever, because maybe it seems a little more corporate if that is something they're going for. I think, and I also think it's a thing that people who have a bio, who are maybe working at companies where they have to have a bio because they speak.
Interesting.
They already have something written out where it's this person, da 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 da. So I love what you said though, maybe about first person and then no person, because first person does seem more friendly. And since they're looking at your face or they just looked at your face, they just scrolled down, it says, hi, I do product marketing at security companies, whatever. It's a little more, it's leaning into that social side of social media.
You're speaking to a human. You're speaking to a human. And that's the most important piece here is when you are making changes onto your LinkedIn, it's just so important to picture the human that you want to be there and actually speak to that person. But very good point about the corporate element of the bio. And that's probably why LinkedIn does it, because it sounds corporate and wouldn't people like to sound more corporate and more prestigious? It very well may be that for certain types of CXO roles that there is kind of a benefit to that. I will definitely, I think that's a great point. Not with a lot of the companies I know, but I could see there being a scenario like that. And you would know that. You, the person writing your LinkedIn, knows where you're applying and knows if that would make sense.
When you're going for the CEO of Dell role, you can do that.
Exactly. Yeah, you want it to sound like you've never even touched your LinkedIn, like someone else does it. Okay, so now I want to make one other interesting point here. And this goes back to what Gianna asked was can you repeat your title? I'm just going to go back to this piece. So a lot of director of demand gen here. That's great. Now, a lot of times, now I'm not encouraging anyone to be disingenuous in any way, but there are ways that you can talk about your activity in your job role that aren't your title and that can help you career-wise. So one of those things I say, and this is a slightly cheesy one, but I don't hate it. So I'd like to use it. But when you say marketing leader, it helps for people to know that you think of yourself as a leader, as opposed to, let's just say your job is marketing manager, a simple title of marketing manager or director of product marketing. Now, if you put yourself as a leader, you are sending the message that you take pride in your leadership capabilities. It sends that message that you are somebody who could be promoted and who really cares for that. I'm making that be the example for something bigger, which is that you can use your tagline more aspirationally about who you want to be known as. But here, you always want to make sure that you're obviously using the correct title that you were given, because this is where the integrity comes in strongly. Now, I've talked to a lot of people. There is always a conversation to be had if you would like your title to be something interesting or different. Just make sure you check with your company because they do care often.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, you can let's say you want growth to be a part of your career trajectory. So you could ask, can I be the director of growth as opposed to demand generation? And it sends a different message. And, you're the marketer and you know where you want your career to go and how you want to interact with the world. And companies often are very open to that, especially smaller companies.
And then if your company says no, you can put in your headline, product marketer or marketer in cybersecurity with a focus on growth so that you hit those keywords.
Exactly. Or you can even say growth marketer. You can say growth marketer.
As long as the title's correct.
You can say growth marketer in your headline as long as your actual title. Now, Anna doesn't have anything in her experience at each place, which, by the way, is a trap that I think LinkedIn gets people into. Because then you have this to replace that, but you don't get to really define your impact there. And this is where I would say it's very important to see this is your landing page versus your resume will be your website. So you want to mention things that will make people want to see your resume. So that's kind of the thinking, that you want to write accomplishments, you want to write maybe major contributions, or the way that you sat on the team. An example could be, strategist for growth campaigns. You can decide if you want to say how big your team is, but sometimes writing the size of your team can be helpful. You want to do that in a classy way, but I'm saying you want to write really short pieces that are going to make people say, I want to learn more about that. I wonder what the resume says.
That's interesting because what you're trying to do is you're doing an enterprise sales motion here. Is what you're trying to get conversations. You want to have a phone call with someone, right?
Yeah.
Or you want them to reach out and say, hey, you seem like you have the experience we're looking for. Would you like to talk? Could you share your resume with us? Exactly.
You are trying to lead someone on the experience of your LinkedIn page, and it's very smooth. When it's done right, it's just a flip. It's a one scroll. So that's why also I'm militant about the real estate, because the more you force someone to scroll, you're going to end up with a below the fold where you don't want it. So if you can kind of get it all up here, or at least the things you want to show there, that's the marathon you want. Because to click to see more of your experience, you already have to have them bought in.
Okay. Mimi, we have just a time check here. We have 10 minutes left. So
that's crazy. I thought it was going to be so much shorter.
I know we got really good questions. Alana Haas wants her page looked at. She volunteered, raised her hand.
Great.
Do you think there's time? Can we pull her up?
I did Alana volunteer?
She's literally said in this chat she would like it.
Oh, no, because I think we had so many people offer themselves emailing yesterday. How about this? I want to offer everybody here who hasn't had it with me. You can, Gianna, is it okay if I'll put my Calendly here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we'll do that because I thought I definitely wanted to use a real person that was going to be here for this piece. And I figured if we have time at the end, but it really doesn't feel like we're going to have quality time at the end to do it. I'm trying to think. And then I also just don't want the people who volunteered yesterday bravely, I just don't want to ignore them. So I'm going to offer everybody a 15-minute high-level LinkedIn analysis. So what I would have done here, feel free to come. Gianna, how do I do this? Just in the chat? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, great. So, I have secrets. I didn't tell you my secrets. How about the last 10 minutes? I'll do secrets.
Oh, yeah, that actually was part of it. Well, we're at the last 10 minutes. So
great. No, and that's what I'm thinking. Instead of kind of bringing people up, and I don't want people to feel that they're not going to get that. You can definitely schedule some time with me, and I will give it to you. It is a little tough love. Sometimes I tell you stuff. So just be forewarned, but it's always out of love. Now I'm going to stop the share for a minute. So for the secrets part, what I really wanted to talk about is how I behave on LinkedIn. Hi, welcome to my LinkedIn. I'll have to make sure that if my messages start showing up, I'll have to close it down. But so here's my LinkedIn. Welcome. This is my page. I don't claim to do this perfectly, by the way, but I have a reason for everything I have on my LinkedIn. And that's what I also wanted to just leave the analysis part with you, is that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can always mess with it. It is fluid. You can try things out. You can see how it goes. And so I want everybody to want to make sure people really don't feel like, oh, it has to be perfect and then you've gotten it perfect. I change this all the time. It's what I do. And I use it in like a little bit silly, a little bit serious. So that's what I do. Now, here are some of my secrets. I wrote them down so that I will not forget. But I do want to share this with you. And these are the things that I don't like to share, on my lives, just because they're a little funny. When you're trying to engage with LinkedIn, a lot of people can get nervous about it. Gosh, I haven't been so active lately. Let me think if you can see some of the things I've written to people. I'm going to stop sharing that because what I wanted to just to keep it focused. So what I wanted to share is that when I want to get into LinkedIn, me and Gianna have been building this careers division, and it's been taking a lot of my mind space. So I'm not as in it, but there's a couple things that are secrets. Number one, posting is great. Not everybody is a poster. And a lot of times I feel people miss out on getting to be an involved LinkedIn person because you don't realize that LinkedIn loves people who engage with other people's posts as much as people who post, if not more. So you can have an entire LinkedIn engagement strategy based on finding a couple people that you like to engage with their posts, writing thoughtful things, and then having real conversations with people there. So that's like an engagement secret. And they will encourage that. And then what does that mean that they encourage it? They'll get you seen. So they will tell your connections that you've commented. They'll show it in someone's feed. So that's just an interesting thing to know about.
Mimi, here's my question. How can you apply that to job seeking? Like being engaged on LinkedIn, like trying to, like, say you're not like someone who makes a lot of posts, right? You're like, I'm not really a social media person, right? You have like a blank, you have your LinkedIn, but it's not very active. Like some people had mentioned before, maybe you don't have a banner, right? Skip all that facts. If you wanted to comment and if you wanted to use this strategy for getting a job, how would you kind of like zhuzh it?
That's great. So one of the things that I would say is both. So you can use the concept for getting a job, but also for using it for your current role. If you're trying to get in front of somebody for your role, and often not just salespeople want to do that. If you're a marketer and you're trying to get a meeting, let's say with a customer or something like that, the best approach is to have authentic comments. You don't ever want to be direct and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," or what's it like to work at this place publicly? You can say those things privately, but when you make a public comment, it gives you almost like a little bit of a creak of the door to go do a private message. So if you make a generous public statement, like, "What a great comment," I think it really applies to the following scenarios. So that's my general philosophy there. Okay, I'm not frozen. That's what I should say. Give me a thumbs up if I'm not frozen. So what I would say is, you're kind of looking at your comments as a way to open the door to a deeper conversation, keeping in mind a couple things. Everyone sees your comment. Sometimes it triggers a notification that you've made a comment. So it's another one of those hygiene pieces, just to make sure that you are considering how it will be seen. So that's an interesting thing. Now, you can start let's say it's a real influencer. Someone who I'm just going to use, who's like the most famous cybersecurity influencer. I don't know. One of them.
Me. No, I'm just kidding. Dr. Zero Trust, Richard Steinen, who will both be at Cyber Marketing
Those
Con,
are great ones. And I'll say how to get Gianna's attention too, or mine. But let's say Richard Steinen, let's say you're trying to get their attention. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen if you comment on Richard Steinen's posts. Okay. Number one, you could have CMOs seeing you. So just seeing your name on Brian Krebs, right? Just seeing your name pop up does a lot. It's weird, but people get curious and they'll click. Or, just seeing your name, and I mean, funny is always king. Make sure it's really funny. But Gianna does a great job of funny. But yeah, I would say a funny, something short, something not heavy. Getting your name up there is one of my biggest secrets. And one of the secrets that I'll share is that when I do my LinkedIn lives, one of the reasons I do it, I love the conversations. I love my guests. It's always a great show. But all of my 18,000 connections get a notification that I'm live and my name pops up. And it's great. It's just a great way to keep yourself current. So I would keep that as a concept. It's your name popping up, your picture popping up, your headline popping up. It builds on itself. It's not a one-time thing that's going to get you a job. It's kind of like a presence. So you have to kind of think of, what kind of presence can I handle that's authentic for me? So sometimes that's commenting on other people's things. Now, sometimes liking is an interesting one. Liking, you shouldn't like something unless you have a plan. So what do I mean by that? Similar to making a comment. If I like something that somebody writes, sometimes it's because I do want my people to see it. I want to be generous. I want like a light way for my network to see it. So if it's a job post, I have to really think about, is this a job post that people in my, I'm not going to just like it randomly. Or if it's, let's see, something I wouldn't like. Okay. I have a friend who has a podcast. He's a rabbi and it's a great podcast. I don't listen to it. I really like him and I want to support him. I don't like his posts because it's just totally not on brand for me. Yeah, I loved your post. I thought it was really smart. I'll tell him privately, but I can't post. I can't like it. I've done it maybe once or twice when he first came out just to give him that support, but it's not that helpful for him. Number one, because my community is primarily cybersecurity marketers and cybersecurity people. So that's an example, thinking about your personal relationships versus your kind of professional persona and how liking will affect that. And when I use liking strategically within our community, I will often, if I like something, it's either, like I said, because I want people to see it, or it's because it's somebody that I then want to send a personal message to.
Yeah, or you want them to look at you. If you I was going to say, because then you like something, they've never heard of you. They might check out your profile. I do that all the time. I'm like, who is this person? We're not connected. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also, I like a lot of Gianna stuff because I like that people see that we're associated. And when people see that I like her stuff, she likes my stuff, we do stuff together. It was something I started doing only once I joined the society. I did it a lot less before I did it. I was very careful about when I would like Gianna's stuff. it needed to be on brand for me. It needed to be a non-conflict for me. Now that we're together in this exciting endeavor, I try to do it a lot more because it's just that very association is a message. So I hope that's helpful. I'm trying to think of some other secrets.
Well, we're out of time. We're out of time, Amy. So I'm sorry. This
session on automation next time.
Okay. Automation for job seekers. That's a different one.
Yes. All right. I'll do a mini session on that. Did we get all the questions? Or?
We got a lot. We got 10 questions, 10 plus questions this time. If anyone else has questions.
Did we get them answered or?
Yeah, okay. We got all of them. I was keeping track. If anyone, everyone else, awesome. I posted Mimi's calendar in the chat. So make sure to grab, if you want 15-minute high level overview of your LinkedIn, she's happy to go through it with you for that 15 minutes. And if if you are a marketer in cybersecurity, an in-house marketer, feel free to join the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. Hope to see you in Austin, Texas for Cyber Marketing Con in December. And lastly, we're going to have another one of these shows. We had, I think, 8 weeks of shows, like a season set up, all about careers and career strategy. Exciting. So make sure to keep an eye out, check out our events page, and sign up for the other shows that we have going on with Mimi.
And then I guess just the last thing I wanted to invite anyone, you can definitely set up time to have the high level view of your LinkedIn. And in addition, I just wanted to invite anyone who is looking for their next role to also set up a time. What we have is we have kind of a secret list of people who are looking. We have our layoffs list that you can have that's totally public to the world. And then we have a secret list of people that are looking, and we keep that close to our heart. And it's literally a physical list that I keep in front of me right now on a giant Post-it. And you can share with me what you're looking for. And as we build up the program, we can hopefully make introductions for you, or, see what we can do. So just want to throw that out there as well. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Mimi.
So fun.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, bye, everyone. Care.